legal reporter for LEEA, and I'm here with Stuart Raby, who is the sales director of Globestock Safety. Stuart, tell us a little bit about what you do.
What we do with the Guard Loader Vest products is we try to help you as your LEEA members to work in conjunction with other products. So Guard Loader Vest or Loader Vest in general is there as a secondary backup to prevent loads prevent loads failing and hitting the floor. So exactly the same as a faller vest or SRL. It means that you can't have any issues on site. So let's say we have a chain failure on a hoist. The loader vest, if it was deployed next to that unit, would stop it from hitting the floor, potentially causing fatalities, damage to equipment. In a nutshell, that's what a loader vest and load safety does.
And how did you get into this business?
I started in 1993. I applied for a job as an admin assistant in a lifting equipment company. I had no knowledge of lifting, handling, safety equipment at all. So I started from there, went in, started doing the everyday admin paperwork, started to learn about the products, moved into sales, learned about inspections, worked on the tools, and then progressed through a number of different roles. At some point doing some LEEAs, coming back, working in the sales side, but still having a hands-on, to eventually we owned our own business in lifting, handling, safety equipment until I sold out from that business. And then I stepped away for a little while and then came back into lifting, ultimately getting to the point where we are today, where I'm working in the manufacturing side of where we manufacture products to supply to the LEEA members, to supply into the end users.
How did you become a specialist specifically in load security?
Load safety is quite a niche sector of the industry. A lot of people, if you're a person, oh yes, we need to make sure you stop hitting the floor, but they don't comprehend that often the users, and obviously for distributors, lifting equipment's a very broad subject. But we actually need to consider the failure of the unit. So for example, if you've got a chain hoist that's in a very hot environment, you might get a chain embrittlement and therefore a chain failure, load fail, hit the floor. Brake failure, exactly the same. So with the loader vest, that's what that does. And I've been selling loader vests since mid-90s for varying people. And obviously when I moved to Globestock, was one of our main specialist products is the loader vest market. So we've now take the time to understand, and it's a specialist market, whether that's just for working a lot in entertainment, events industry, working alongside hoists or industrial doors, lots of different niche areas where having a secondary backup device to your hoist or winch or device would prove beneficial to prevent failure and fatalities.
Yeah, quite a specialised area. Can you tell us what you're working on at the moment?
So we've got several large projects at the moment we're working on, which is an event in Europe for a large quantity of units. But every job with loader vest is different. It's niche. It's almost every time we have an inquiry, we start again. We've got a project in America where we have aerial fitness course and aquatic, where we have loader vest suspending the unit above the water, to working along industrial doors, to keeping oven doors open so when they can work underneath them, to just working on a jib crane. We've got projects in abattoirs, holding cutting saws so they don't if they fail, hitting the floor, to automotive. It's in all different sectors, but it's quite niche and specialist, and it's not normally somebody has to have an incident. And what we're trying to develop is, instead of waiting for the incident to happen, is you get ahead and actually start thinking about it up front, that there might be an incident. Prime example, you're in a machine shop, a little small jib crane, hoist on there, but that hoist is always going to be in and around the person operating it. So there's always this potential for hitting, if the load failed, it would hit the person. So by putting a loader vest unit next to it, you at least limit the potential of falling and hitting the person or the load hitting the floor either way. So it's quite a niche, but it's very interesting, because every time you get a job, almost an inquiry, there's some sort of work that has to be done to validate.
And you've been a member of LEEA for quite a long time now.
Globestock have been members of LEEA since about 2018. I think I did my first LEEA course in 97, 98, something like that. Something in that region. So yeah, it's something that I'm aware of, and the work that LEEA does to support their members and promote good practice within lifting, which is what we all want to strive to promote the best practice and have people thinking ahead rather than thinking afterwards, which is, it's always too late. So hopefully that's what if we can achieve anything, it's always a good thing.
Can you give the LEEA members your top tips on load safety?
The first one is always planning first, and training of operators. But with regards load arrest and load safety, is maintenance is always key. A well-maintained hoist is unlikely to fail, or less likely to fail, alongside the training. But to start to consider, you could be using a load arrest unit alongside a hoist or a winch within your system to prevent failure, particularly when you're talking smaller, lighter loads, sort of from 150 all the way up to 1500, 3 ton. The solutions that can be achieved, you just need to think ahead rather than wait for the incident to happen.
So what's next for you?
The next for us is developing, in terms of on the load safety, is developing more units that we can do longer lengths, bigger loads. I've got a desire to create some quite big units in terms of load safety, so we can protect the bigger loads, which at the moment are currently exposed because there's no obvious means of protecting the load within a standard setup system. So we've got plans to develop some unique testings to validate all of these inquiries that we see. We capture all that data now, so we can validate the testing for these unique solutions that come up very occasionally, and it's go through the due diligence and test it to that setup, so we can actually show you this is how we've done the work, and therefore it's the right reason, not just a straight certification testing, but a situational testing that in that scenario there, we know it will work because we've proven it. And so hopefully that means it would give confidence to the user, and we've got the confidence to say, yes, we know this is going to work. So hopefully that will be something that would help develop the market and also allow us to protect more loads.
Well, some exciting times ahead there, and thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you very much, Jenny.